The Federal Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Mr. Olaf Scholz, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Ministers and members of both delegations, friends from the media, good afternoon and welcome to the press statements following the meetings that were just taking place between the leaders of India and Germany. May I now request Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to make his remarks to the media. Sir.
Your Excellency,
Your Excellency,
दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स,
delegates of both countries,
मीडिया के साथियों,
friends from the media,
गुटन टाग,
Guten Tag,
नमस्कार।
Namaskar.
मैं मेरे मित्र
I welcome my friend Chancellor Scholz and his delegation to India.
चांसलर शोल्ज कई वर्षों बाद भारत का दौरा कर रहे हैं। 2012 में
His visit to India in 2012 was the first ever visit to India by a mayor of Hamburg.
स्पष्ट है
It is evident
कि उन्होंने
that
भारत जर्मनी संबंधों की संभावनाओं को बहुत पहले ही समझ लिया था। पिछले वर्ष हमारी 3 बैठकें हुई
meetings,
और हर बार हमारी
and
चर्चाओं
each time it
उनकी
was
इस दूरदृष्टि
his
और विजन
foresight
से
and vision
हमारे
that
द्विपक्षीय
gave
संबंधों
a
को
new impetus
एक नई
and
गति
energy
और ऊर्जा मिली।
to our bilateral relations.
आज की बैठक में भी
In
हमने सभी
today's meeting
महत्वपूर्ण
as well,
द्विपक्षीय मुद्दों
we have had
तथा क्षेत्रीय एवं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विषयों पर
important bilateral
विस्तारपूर्वक
issues
चर्चा
as well as on regional
Friends,
and international
भारत और
subjects.
जर्मनी के
Friends,
मजबूत संबंध
The strong relations between
साझा
India
लोकतांत्रिक
and
मूल्यों
Germany are based
और
on
एक
our
दूसरे के
shared
हितों की
democratic values
deep
and a
understanding
deep
पर आधारित है।
understanding of each other's interests.
दोनों देशों के बीच
Both countries
सांस्कृतिक
also
एवं
have
आर्थिक आदान प्रदान का
a
भी
long
लंबा
history
इतिहास है।
of cultural and economic exchanges
विश्व की
between
2
them.
बड़ी लोकतांत्रिक अर्थव्यवस्थाओं के बीच
Increasing cooperation
सहयोग
between 2 large
दोनों देशों की
democracies
जनता के
of
लिए
the
तो
world
लाभकारी है
is
ही।
not only beneficial
आज
for the
के
people
तनावग्रस्त
of
विश्व
both
में
countries, but
इससे
this also
एक
sends out
सकारात्मक
a
संदेश भी
positive
जाता है।
message in today's world fraught
जर्मनी
with tension.
यूरोप में हमारा
Apart
सबसे
from
बड़ा
being our
ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर
biggest
होने के
trading
साथ
partner in Europe,
भारत में निवेश का भी महत्वपूर्ण स्रोत है।
important source of investment in India.
मेक इन इंडिया
Today,
और
thanks
आत्मनिर्भर
to
भारत
the
अभियान
Make
की
in
वजह से
India and Self-Reliant
भारत में
India campaigns,
सभी सेक्टर्स में
new opportunities
नए अवसर
are
खुल रहे हैं।
opening up in India in all sectors.
इन अवसरों के प्रति जर्मनी की
We
रुचि
are
से
encouraged to
हम
see
उत्साहित हैं।
to see Germany's
Chancellor
interest
Scholz के
in
साथ
these opportunities.
आज आया हुआ बिजनेस
The
डेलीगेशन
business delegation accompanying
भारतीय business
Chancellor
leaders के बीच
Scholz had a
एक सफल
successful
बैठक हुई
meeting today with
और
Indian
कुछ अच्छे
business
एग्रीमेंट
leaders,
भी बड़े
and
महत्वपूर्ण
some
एग्रीमेंट भी
important
हुए।
agreements were also concluded.
डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन
We also
Fintech,
got to hear
IT,
useful ideas
telecom,
and suggestions
और
on
supply
subjects such
chains
as
के
digital
diversification
transformation,
जैसे
fintech,
हमें दोनों
IT,
देशों के
telecom,
प्रमुख industry
and
leaders के
supply chain
उपयोगी विचार और
diversification
सुझाव भी सुनने को
from
मिले।
key industry leaders in
Friends,
both countries.
भारत और जर्मनी
Friends,
ट्रायंगुलर
under
डेवलपमेंट
triangular
कॉर्पोरेशन
development
के तहत
cooperation, India
cooperation के
and
तहत
Germany
तीसरे
are
देशों के विकास के
increasing
लिए
their cooperation
आपसी सहयोग
with each
बढ़ा रहे
other for the development of
पिछले
third
कुछ वर्षों में
countries. In the last
हमारे
few
बीच
years, people-to-people
संबंध
relations
सुदृढ़ हुए।
between us have also
पिछले
been
वर्ष
strengthened.
दिसंबर में किए गए
The Migration
and
and Mobility Partnership Agreement signed
उससे ये
last
संबंध
year in December
और भी गहरे
has
होंगे।
further strengthened these relations.
बदलते समय की आवश्यकताओं
As
के
per the
अनुसार
needs of the changing
अपने
times,
संबंधों में
we are
नए
also
और
adding
आधुनिक पहलू भी
new
जोड़ रहे
and modern dimensions
पिछले
to
वर्ष
our relations.
मेरी
Last
जर्मनी की
year,
यात्रा के
during my visit to
हमने
Germany,
ग्रीन एंड
we had
सस्टेनेबल
announced
डेवलपमेंट
a green and sustainable development
माध्यम से
partnership.
हम
Through this,
climate action
we are increasing
और sustainable
cooperation
development goal के
in the
क्षेत्र में भी
areas of climate
सहयोग
action
बढ़ा रहे हैं।
and sustainable development
renewable
goals.
energy,
We
green
have
hydrogen
decided to work
और
together
biofuel जैसे
in
क्षेत्रों
areas
में
such
भी
as renewable
हमने
energy,
साथ
green
काम करने का
hydrogen,
निर्णय किया।
and biofuels. Friends,
Security और defense
security
cooperation
and defense
हमारी
cooperation
strategic
can
partnership
become an
एक
important
महत्वपूर्ण
pillar
स्तंभ बन
of
चुका है।
our strategic
इस
partnership.
क्षेत्र में
We
हमारी
will
untapped
continue
potential
to
को
work
पूरी
together
तरह realize
in
करने
order
के लिए
to fully realize
हम साथ मिलकर
our
प्रयास करते
untapped
रहेंगे।
potential in this
आतंकवाद
area.
और अलगाववाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई
There
में
has been
भारत और
active
जर्मनी के
cooperation
बीच
between
सक्रिय सहयोग।
India and Germany in the fight
दोनों देश
against terrorism
इस बात पर भी
and
सहमत हैं
separatism.
कि
Both
cross-border
countries
terrorism को
also
समाप्त करने
agree
के
on the
लिए
fact that
ठोस कार्यवाही
concrete
आवश्यक है।
action is needed to
Friends,
end cross-border
कोविड
terrorism.
महामारी
Friends,
और यूक्रेन
the
संघर्ष के
COVID
प्रभाव
pandemic
पूरे
and the
विश्व पर पड़े।
Ukrainian war have had an
विकासशील
impact
देशों
on
पर
the entire
इनका
world.
विशेष रूप से
Developing
नकारात्मक
countries
प्रभाव
have in particular been
हमने इस
negatively
बारे में अपनी साझा
impacted.
चिंता
We have
व्यक्त की।
expressed our shared
हम सहमत हैं
concern on this.
कि इन
We
समस्याओं
agree
का
on the
समाधान
fact that
संयुक्त
these
प्रयासों
problems
से ही
can
संभव है।
only be resolved through collective
भारत की
efforts.
G20 की अध्यक्षता में भी
We are
हम इस बात पर बल दे रहे हैं।
our G20
यूक्रेन
presidency
के
as
घटनाक्रम
well.
के शुरुआत से ही
From the
भारत ने
time developments in Ukraine
dialogue और
started,
diplomacy के माध्यम से
India has
विवाद
emphasized
को सुलझाने
that
पर
the dispute should
जोर
be
दिया।
resolved through dialogue
भारत
and diplomacy.
किसी भी शांति प्रक्रिया
India
में
is ready
योगदान देने
to
के लिए तैयार है।
contribute in any peace
हमने इस बात
process.
पर भी
We
सहमति दोहराई
also
कि
reiterated
वैश्विक
our
वास्तविकताओं को
agreement
बेहतर तरीके से
that
दर्शाने के लिए
reforms are
Multilateral
essential
institutions
in multilateral institutions
आवश्यक है।
so that they better
UN
reflect
Security
global
Council में सुधार लाने
realities.
के लिए G4 के
This is
अंतर्गत
clear from
हमारी सक्रिय
our
भागीदारी
active
से
partnership
यह स्पष्ट
in the
है।
G4 to bring about
Excellency,
reforms of the UN Security
सभी
Council.
देशवासियों की तरफ से
Excellency, on
एक बार
behalf
फिर
of all my countrymen,
और आपके
I
delegation
once
का
again welcome
भारत में
you
स्वागत करता
and
हूं।
your delegation
इस
to
वर्ष
India.
सितंबर में
I will
भारत में
have the
आयोजित
opportunity
G20 summit के
to
लिए
welcome you
हमें
once
आपका
again
फिर से
at the
स्वागत
G20
करने का
summit that will be
अवसर मिलेगा।
organized in India
आपकी इस
in September.
भारत यात्रा और आज
I
की हमारी
thank you
उपयोगी
very
चर्चा के
much
लिए
for visiting
आपका
India
बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद।
and for the fruitful discussions that we have had
Thank you,
today.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Now I call upon the Federal Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Mr. Olaf Scholz, to make his remarks.
Sehr geehrter Herr Premierminister, lieber Narendra Modi,
Prime
vielen
Minister
Dank für die herzliche
Narendra
Begrüßung
Modi,
in Neu-Delhi
thank you very
und
much for the cordial
ich freue
welcome
mich,
here
zum
in New Delhi.
Staatsbesuch hier
I
in
am
Indien
pleased
zu
to be
sein.
here
Es ist schon gesagt
today
worden, es
on a
ist nicht
state
das
visit
erste
to
Mal, dass
India.
ich hier bin,
The point has been made by you that this is not my first
Zweite
visit to
Mal
India. At the time I came, I was the
Und ich
mayor
kann
of the city of
rückblickend
Hamburg.
sagen,
And
es
with
hat sich viel
hindsight, I'm in a
verändert.
position to say that a
Indien hat
lot
einen
has
großen Aufschwung
changed.
genommen,
India
es ist
has
Fortschritt passiert und das
undertaken
ist
an
ein gutes
enormous
Zeichen auch für
rise.
die
Much has
Beziehungen
happened, and
und
that
die
is also
Zusammenarbeit
good for the
unserer Länder,
relations
die wir uns
between
für die
both our
Zukunft
countries and
vorgenommen haben.
peoples,
In
and
der
for
Tat,
all the
ich bin
goals and
fest davon
objectives we've
überzeugt,
set ourselves.
dass
Indeed,
unsere Länder
we are
eng
convinced, as the
verbunden
Prime
sind,
Minister said, that
weil wir
both our
ähnliche
countries are
Vorstellungen
closely
haben,
linked
ganz
because we
besonders,
have
was die Demokratie
similar
betrifft und die Bedeutung,
ideas
die sie für
and
unser Leben und für die Zukunft hat. Und insofern ist es wichtig,
and it's
dass wir
important
die
for the future of our
Gelegenheiten
lives.
nutzen,
Thus, it is
die jetzt vor
important
uns
for
liegen,
us to
um dafür
use
zu
these
sorgen, dass wir in
opportunities
verschiedenen
to address
Bereichen
the
unsere
challenges
ökonomischen
ahead of
und
us and to make
sozialen
sure that in a whole
kulturellen
host of
Beziehungen
areas,
verbessern,
economic,
vertiefen
cultural,
und
and
ausbauen.
others,
Das
we
ist auch
further
das
deepen
Ziel
and
des
expand
Besuches,
our relationship.
den
And that
wir
is exactly the purpose of my visit to India.
absolvieren. Wir haben zusammengearbeitet und nicht
We
nur
have been
miteinander
cooperating.
gesprochen. Diese
We
Zusammenarbeit
have been
hat möglich
discussing
gemacht, dass
matters.
wichtige Entscheidungen
This has
getroffen
made it
worden
possible
sind
for us
im
to take
letzten Jahr, als
important
es notwendig
decisions
war,
last year
etwa wenn es um
when it
Entscheidungen
was
der G20
necessary. For
geht.
example, when it was
Und ich
about
bin sehr
the
froh, dass Indien
G20
in
taking
diesem Jahr
decisions
die
together.
G20
And I'm
Präsidentschaft hat.
pleased
Das
that
ist eine
India
sehr, sehr
has the presidency of the
verantwortungsvolle
G20 this
Rolle in
year.
einer schwierigen
A
Zeit.
very
Das
responsible
muss
task at a
ausdrücklich festgehalten
difficult
werden.
point in
Aber ich
time
bin
that has
fest
to be
überzeugt,
underlined.
dass Indien diese Aufgabe auch
But
wahrnehmen
I'm
wird, dass es
confident
gelingen
that
wird,
Indian
all
will
das zu erreichen, was wir uns für dieses Jahr vorgenommen haben.
fully comply with what needs to
Eine
be done
wichtige
in that
Frage wird
regard.
die Sicherstellung von Nahrungs-
A
und
very
Mittel- und
important
Energieversorgung
question
in der Welt
is
sein.
securing the
Wir müssen
supply with
dafür
food
sorgen,
and
dass wir
energy.
allen Ländern
We have to
Asiens,
make
Afrikas
sure
und in
that countries in
Südamerikas
Asia,
der
Africa,
fruchtbare
and
Anwendungsfähigkeit
America are not too strongly and negatively impacted by the terrible war of aggression that Russia started against Ukraine, and that the impact is not too negative for them. Supply shortages is thus one priority of our work. Indeed, the war in Ukraine began a year ago. It has led to immense losses, destruction, destroyed infrastructure, railway links, energy connections, grids. It is a major catastrophe, but above all, it is a disaster, a catastrophe, because we know that this war violates a fundamental principle to which we had all been agreed for such a long time, and that is that you do not change borders through the use of violence, but that international law governs international relations and ought to provide the basis for international actions. Thus, it is important that in the United Nations too we time and again state very clearly where we stand on this subject matter. The world is suffering as a consequence of Russia's aggression. I've been describing in what way it does. Thus, the cooperation between both our countries is of great importance. There are a whole host of areas in which we can further deepen and enhance our cooperation. First and foremost, the economic cooperation between both our countries. 1,800 German companies are active in India. They have created tens of thousands of jobs and are amongst the biggest foreign investors in your country. And our intention is to put this on a steady footing and expand that cooperation. The number of personnel employed here is to go massively up, and the agreements that the members of the business delegations have reached with each other point the way in that direction. The next Asia Pacific Conference of German Industry and Business will take place in India, by the way. Second, we want to further deepen trade relations between the European Union and India, and this is why both of us speak out strongly for the negotiations about a free trade agreement and investment protection agreement to be speedily concluded. I personally will make sure that this does not drag on. A third important point, research and development. These are important areas. We need talents, we need skilled workers, we need to join up our forces in that regard and make progress together. It is especially important for one area that in my eyes is of the greatest importance, and that is the development of IT and software. There are many very capable companies here in India. We have German companies in India. We have thousands of people employed in these companies. India has so much talent to offer, and we want to benefit from that cooperation here in India, but also with an eye to recruiting and attracting those talents to Germany and employing them there in our industry sectors. The central topic for the future of mankind is, of course, fighting climate change. We've talked about this, and I am very grateful for the very friendly cooperation that we have had so far. It's impressive what we've agreed to in the Indo-German Partnership for Green and Sustainable Development, and how much it has evolved since we agreed. We have signed agreements and have enormous potential that can be tapped here. It's important in our eyes that we develop this further in the field of solar, biomass, using digital means, using hydrogen, green hydrogen, all of that plays a central part. And this is exactly what we want to focus on. And we also want to develop this at the global scale in the framework of the International Climate Club that we have set up. As the G7 presidency, last year we made sure that this has become a topic on the international agenda, and we want to work together to make real progress. I'm happy to say that the cooperation has been good in these areas, but I would highlight one area in particular, and that is the agreement on migration and mobility. It's still a fairly young agreement, but it has already been very active and has had many consequences. Many skilled workers, qualified personnel from India have seized the opportunity. It's in a way a model agreement, a front-runner for what can be achieved at the global level. We take pride in having reached that agreement with India. And with regard to the challenges we are facing, we will be able to solve this. There is an enormous interest in developing these sectors, and with the right skilled personnel, we will be able to do so. Prime Minister, dear Narendra Modi, I'm very grateful to you for the excellent cooperation, for the friendship between both our countries, for the friendship between you and I, and for the many good talks and exchanges we've had. It is a wonderful feeling to be here today, and I very much hope that this is a good foundation on which we can build our ambitious relationship.
Thank you, Excellency. This concludes the press statements. Thank you all for joining.
S'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Léo.
Léo.